Hi Fox, welcome to my Monday. I'd like to introduce you to my background. Over here we have an untended and uncleaned dog crate that is currently being used to house an unwell bunny. Well, she's well, but she's just had another operation, so she's recuperating. She's currently in that little basket there, hiding from me. She's in a grumpy mood, as you would be recuperating from ear surgery. So excuse that mess on that side of the room. Over here is the photos that I like on Flickr. There, using the Apple TV to put those on the screen. So I've given you some interesting stuff. So if you see any movement over this side, it will be a white bunny going to have something to eat, and there will be continual movement on this side thanks to Apple TV, which I still use a lot and really enjoy actually. As I was walking home on Friday night, I was trying to think of something interesting to tell you, because I feel like my interesting things aren't very interesting. And I was kind of thinking, well, you've got to come on, Michelle, because Fox has always got interesting things for you. So what are you doing? What are you doing with your life? Why can't you find anything interesting? And then I saw Jim Hefke. And he came out of the engineering building and he was walking in front of me. Now, he would probably look at me and smile because he might remember me from somewhere, but he doesn't really know me from a bar of soap. But that's okay. And Jim was walking home, and in one hand he had a rocket. It's about this round. About this, oh, I don't know, a metre? And in the other hand he had a plastic bag full of, one can only suggest, would-be detonators. And Jim looked like he was going home to fly rockets or launch rockets this weekend. Jim Hefke is an engineer at the University of Auckland, and I heard him speak a few weeks ago at an event that the university organised called Raising the Bar. Just a side note, this Raising the Bar was a great idea. They had academics talking about a whole range of things, from rockets to biology to cells to health and all sorts of things. I only went to Jim's one, so I don't really know the details of the other. But the point is that instead of being in lecture rooms and at the university, they were in bars around town. It was like a pub crawl, but you would go between the bars, have a drink and listen to someone smart talk about something they were passionate about. Amazing idea. Was really great, completely sold out, really good idea. I hope they do it again. I went to listen to Jim talk about rocket labs and rockets. So Rocket Lab is a New Zealand company whose mission is to develop lightweight, cost-effective commercial rocket services. And this is so that the everyday academic, the everyday researcher, the everyday person who needs data can get their experiments up into low Earth orbit. So these rockets have small payloads. They don't have a lot of stuff on board. And one of their main payloads is what's called a Cubesat. So you imagine satellite and the word cube, but around the other way, Cubesats. And these are what Jim was talking about, and he had one on to show us. They are little boxes or little frames that are 10 centimetres by 10 centimetres by 10 centimetres, which is only about, they were pretty small, you know, and they have slots in them that you can put computer boards and little cameras and things like that.
How do CubeSats get into orbit? NASA's CubeSat launch initiative gives CubeSats a free ride on rockets that have room and fuel to spare. It's like a rideshare program. We're already going into space, so your CubeSat is welcome aboard. Once a CubeSat has a seat on a flight, it'll be loaded into a launcher container on the rocket. These containers have a long technical name, but let's just call them dispensers for short. Each CubeSat is stacked into the dispenser like a pea in a pod, with its power turned off until the right time during the mission. After the launch, once the rocket is at just the right elevation, the main spacecraft separates and heads on its way. Then it's the CubeSat's turn. A few seconds later, the dispenser door springs open, and another spring inside pushes the CubeSats free. Each CubeSat's transmitters turn on, and its power and other tools will begin to work. Then your CubeSat is ready for its mini mission in space.
Rocket Lab is hoping to be able to deliver regular commercial launches by the end of this year, and they're launching here in good old New Zealand on the east coast of the North Island. Yesterday, Sunday, I thought it would be a nice day to go to the art gallery, and I haven't been to the art gallery for ages. And then a few weeks ago, as I mentioned in a blog post, I went to see Body Laid Bare exhibition at the Auckland Gallery, and that's where I just saw that amazing Picasso and was just, you know, really blown away by how beautiful it was. So I went there for the Cassini exhibition, but ended up in the hall. I don't even know what the theme of this collection was that I went to, but it included a Monet, and it had a Picasso, and it had some Haydns, and it had all sorts of things in there. It was a really eclectic. It had some New Zealand art and then some European art, and it was really beautiful. It had, you know, Cubist paintings and Impressionist paintings, and it was just wonderful. But the painting that caught my eye, as he always catches my eye, Colin McCann's painting, Here I Give Thanks to Mondrian. I love Mondrian. I have never seen one in real life, but when I saw Colin McCann's painting, I just couldn't really see any other painting after seeing it. I was at the gallery with Greg. Greg goes around the gallery like this. Yep, yep, nah, yep, nah, yep, yep, nah. Actually, more to the point, he goes, like it, crap, that's crap, that's crap, like it, that's crap, that's crap, I like it. And then he'll come back to me, and I'm still standing at the same painting, and he's been gone like 2.5 minutes. And he's like, are you still here? I said, and I started talking to him about this painting and explaining why I liked it. And he was like, yeah, come on, I'll show you the one I like, I'll show you the one I like. Or he'll say, okay, which are your 3 favourites? He'll walk around and go, come out, which are your 3 favourites? Because he just does that. Yep, nah, yep, nah. And so we're not good people to go to the gallery together with, because he gets really impatient with me because I'm still standing in front of this Colin McCann. And I love this Colin McCann, as I mentioned, and I could see, you know, the underpainting there, and there was a bit of perspective, and when you stood back it looked like there was a drop shadow that caused this hole in the, looked like you were looking through a hole, and all sorts of things. I just loved the high gloss of the sort of surface of it. The black was just infinitely black. It was, you couldn't, apart from a slight dribble in the black, I couldn't see any brush strokes. It was just, it just captivated me, and I just looked and looked and looked and looked and looked at this painting, and I love it. With another piece that really captured me was Thomas More's bust of a young girl, the size of a cradled hand, and apparently it was at a time when Thomas More, along with Pablo Picasso and other artists, were really finding African masks really interesting and compelling, and he cast this bronze at about that time, and it's just a beautiful piece. Really enjoyed that. And then of course in the actual Renaissance collection, as I did with the Picasso, when I walked into the room, one piece just glowed. It just was so gorgeous. Madonna and Child was 6 angels, and the 6 angels, 4 of them holding the I guess the angels are showing us, showing the Virgin Mary, showing the baby, how the baby's going to die. So I spent time at the gallery, and so Sketchbook Skool update at the moment. I don't have an imagination. I've had to work so hard this week to think about what I was going to draw, and we were asked to draw something from our imagination every day for at least a week. Today's Monday, so the new class will start, and I did my first one today. You know, so I really thought hard, and I thought, well, okay, I went to the gallery yesterday. Okay, and I was thinking about rockets on Friday. So I combined those two and thought, what if we had a gallery in space? Just going on from the Sketchbook Skool prompts. A gallery in space. And what if we had a gallery of angels in space? Okay, so I've done one that I'll show you. And it is a gallery in space. And it's kind of copying her because she was doing a lot of space stuff too. But I thought I'd just show you. There's my astronauts looking at pictures of paintings of angels in space or in orbit, as I have there. But gosh, it just takes me so long to think of something. So I thought I'd just write out in my mind for the next one. I thought I would see if I could draw some little creatures. Just little creatures. I thought just fill the page up with little creatures, so I'll be doing that tomorrow. Oh, so I was actually reading in Flow. You mentioned you were enjoying Flow, and there was one next to my bed, and I thought, what's that one all about? So this is, I don't know what do they have, volumes? Issue 16 of Flow, and in here, funnily enough, was an article on slow art, the very thing that I was talking about at the gallery, about, you know, just sort of finding an image, painting, and then sitting with it. So I just thought that I would share with you what they say about the plan for slow looking, is what they call, which just sounds like a very Michelle thing, a plan for slow looking. They suggested visiting a museum or an art gallery during a slow time, when people aren't usually there. They said afternoons were a good time to go. And then when you enter a room, to see what thing moved you. So guide your eyes around the room and see what thing jumped out at you, which I did and the Botticelli did. So that was wonderful. And then look at the shape and the colours, the figures, the narrative, the details, and question those things in your mind. Just sit with them and consider them. Consider them. They mentioned that making notes of what you see in a notebook is a good idea, but keeping them in your head's good. Notebooks are good for me because I have nothing in my head. And then also look at the art from different angles, like walk around it, nice and close. That's where I saw the dribbles on them on the Macan. And then when you've done looking, to think about what it was about the painting that most impressed you. And what is it about the painting that still surprises you? And that little list planned for slow looking was courtesy of Thinking Museum. I don't know what that is, but I'm going to find out. This one has a Flow Offline for 7 Days booklet. And while I like the booklet, it's quite sweet. I'd have to, you know, Instagram my 7 days offline or something. Anyway, I too enjoy the books, and I'm not subscribed to Flow. Flow, my local grocery store, gets a couple of copies in, and I look forward to buying them in person from them. I think I'm the only, me and some other mysterious person buys Flow from there. I might subscribe. You asked me if there were art groups or classes that I went to year after year. There have been several, probably 3 I think I worked out over the years, and it's just when the time suits, when the tutor's good, when the class has good participants, I really enjoy going back again and again and becoming a real regular, and I was never the only one in the class who did that. So I did that with Tom Chrysler's art class in New Plymouth many years ago, before I had children, and then after I had children, until he became ill and died. That's what stopped that class. And there were 2 women up here whose names just completely escape me, but they were both watercolorists. One was a watercolorist, like used watercolors, and did rose paintings. Nancy Tichborne, that was her name. And although I'm not a big fan of rose paintings, her paintings were beautiful and her technique was gorgeous, so I learnt a lot from her. The other one, whose name absolutely is leaving me bewildered, used acrylics in a watercolour style. So instead of using watercolours, acrylics dry fast. They don't, once they're down, they're like plastic. They don't come back up again. So you can paint over them, and they don't lift anything up from the bottom. So she had really developed strong skills in being able to put layers of translucent colour using acrylics, and so that was really interesting to learn that. Although I have come back to watercolour because nothing is as luminous as watercolour, but I would have gone to their classes respectively for years, just on and off and go for a term or a semester, or go on workshops and weekends away when they have their weekend workshops and stuff like that. So but like I said, once you find a good one, a good class that suits you and you feel comfortable in and you enjoy the tutor, it's well worth going, even if it's a beginner's one that you've been at for 5 years. You know, if it blows your hair back, keep going if the tutor doesn't mind you showing up year after year. Well, Fox, this was a long one, and sorry about that. I'm just banging on about the art gallery and, you know, satellites and stuff, but hope you have a good week. Taking the rabbit to the vet first thing in the morning, so early rise for me, and I shall see you later. Bye bye.